100 days since this.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
From the president come dozens of pronouncements and policies.
It's a whirlwind. Number of issues and speed that is being thrust on us all at once.
With Trump, we've seen chaos, we've seen mayhem. Trump's first 100 days have been chaotic.
He's all dressed up today.
There's a dust-up over Ukraine.
You're gambling with World War III.
On Gaza, an unconventional approach.
The Riviera of the Middle East. This could be so magnificent.
He says he wants more territory.
We need Greenland for national security and even international security. One way or the other, we're going to get it. United Kingdom, 10%.
Old allies are under pressure.
Let's be honest. The European Union was formed in order to screw the United States. That's the purpose of it.
He comes out, does something provocative, the world freaks out.
This president is unfit. He should not hold the office.
100 days no one will ever forget.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
So what does it all mean? And what comes next?
It's going to be great television, I will say that.
The 20th of January 2025. Newly sworn in as 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump is signing a flurry of orders to the federal government.
The first item that President Trump is signing is the rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions.
Over the following weeks, scores more are to follow. Many will be challenged in the courts, but huge change is underway.
It was a remarkable pace. They had planned so many things, executive order after executive order, even planned on which days they're going to fall. So they had this rhythm of pushing things out the door.
They saw coming into this a generational opportunity to actually implement the projects that the conservative movement has spent decades plotting and planning.
Elon Musk is appointed to lead a new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Within hours of the inauguration, there's controversy when he does this. Later, he says, "I hope people realize I'm not a Nazi." The gesture was made in a positive spirit, he says. Already in charge of SpaceX as well as Tesla and the social media platform X, Mr. Musk is now tasked with cutting US government waste.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
Legal action will stop or slow down some of Mr. Musk's plans, but tens of thousands of workers are laid off.
I was fired by email at about 8:45 p.m. on a Friday night. There was no prior notice to me, and there was also no prior notice to any of the people that I worked with.
We will have our days in court, and I will be reinstated because this is not legal.
Some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. We will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes.
Huge numbers of government programs are slashed.
Just listen to some of the appalling waste. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of.
He is outspoken, he's flippant, he's not bound by the facts. He's an entertainer. He is playing to the crowds a lot of the time and getting, very funny, very humorous. Very, very, very different style.
Should I get in?
Get in.
Okay.
Shares in Mr. Musk's Tesla company plunge.
Wow.
Mr. Trump signals his support.
Are you looking to buy or lease today?
Well, I'm going to buy, and I'm going to buy because, number one, it's a great product, as good as it gets.
And number two, because this man has devoted his energy and his life to doing this. So I think he's been treated very unfairly by a very small group of people. And I just want people to know that you can't be penalized for being a patriot. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
He has allowed for Elon Musk to step in to basically cut our federal government in half. Slashing, dashing, there's no precision in any of this.
There's a lot of suspicion of federal government employees around the country. People do feel the government is inefficient, and they do feel some tough cuts need to be made.
To go in wholesale and rapidly just shut down whole functions of government and agencies, people getting fired, people getting called back from overseas, this is really shocking.
As profits and sales at Tesla continue to fall, Mr. Musk pledges to cut back his role in government significantly and to spend more time on the company. In Ukraine, tens of thousands of people, perhaps many more, have been killed in the fighting which followed Russia's full-scale invasion. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky comes to the White House. Mr. Trump greets him at the door. There's a handshake.
He's all dressed up today.
But in the Oval Office, the mood is about to change.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest. Why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if you do. You own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not respecting the dignity of this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Soon after, there's a full-on row.
We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
Playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
We're
You're
serious,
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of
war.
millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you can...
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
From the very beginning of the war, we've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and your men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about West?
If you didn't have our military equipment,
you invited me
if
to
you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days.
It's just sad and painful to watch.
What we're seeing from Trump is a bulldozing approach. We're also seeing from him somebody who has zero respect for our allies, zero respect for democracy in America, much less protecting democracies abroad.
I think it was a self-inflicted wound. It didn't have to go that way. You're visiting somebody. You don't sit in front of them in their house and argue with them.
It was just an awful moment. It was, you felt you shouldn't be watching it. I mean, these rows do happen, but it's so rare that they happen in public like that, in front of banks of television cameras. It was really ugly.
Mr. Trump famously claimed he could end the Russia-Ukraine war in 1 day. With the 100 days anniversary approaching, he meets President Zelensky again at the funeral of Pope Francis. He says a deal is close.
I think it was never realistic that Donald Trump or anyone could secure an end to the Ukraine-Russia conflict in a day.
Donald Trump says he wants a bigger U.S.
The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. We need Greenland, very importantly, for international security. We have to have Greenland. It's not a question of, do you think we can do without it? We can. If you look at Greenland right now, if you look at the waterways, you have Chinese and Russian ships all over the place.
Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Some Danes are not happy.
Let me put it in words you might understand. Mr. Trump, off.
The Vice President, J.D. Vance, pays a visit to the US base in Greenland's far north with his wife, Usha.
How we doing? It's cold as here. Nobody told me.
All Greenlandic people have already shouted out to the world that the Greenlandic people is the one who's going to decide how the future is going to be.
And not as an American state.
As an American state.
Without us, Canada can't make it. I say Canada should be our 51st state. There's no tariffs, no nothing.
We're not going to want to be a part of you. We're never going to want to be a part of you.
Heck no. We're not going to follow you down this authoritarian path, and we're going to do everything we can to oppose you.
Let's be very clear. It's never going to happen.
This is pure trolling, initially aimed at Justin Trudeau, and is now having a bit of a continuation. But there's no seriousness to Canada being a 51st state.
If you don't make your product in America under the Trump administration, you will pay a tariff, and in some cases, a rather large one. We have been ripped off for decades by nearly every country on earth, and we will not let that happen any longer.
Mr. Trump begins to unleash a barrage of tariffs or import taxes. First in the firing line, China, Mexico, and Canada.
But Donald, even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
Mr. Trump makes his views about some trading partners plain.
Let's be honest. The European Union was formed in order to screw the United States. That's the purpose of it.
The president has more, much more, in store.
Tonight at 10, a watershed moment for global trade as President Trump announces sweeping tariffs on all goods coming into the United States.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day, the day that we began to make America wealthy again. We're going to make it wealthy, good and wealthy. China, first row. China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them. United Kingdom, 10%, and we'll go 10%. So we'll do the same thing. Presidents, prime ministers, kings, queens, ambassadors, and everyone else who will soon be calling to ask for exemptions from these tariffs. I say, terminate your own tariffs.
Among the tariff targets, the Heard and McDonald Islands near Antarctica. They're home, largely, to penguins. There was an immediate global response.
The global economy will massively suffer.
The calculations, from my point of view, are nonsense.
The administration's tariffs have no basis in logic.
They are all unjustified, unwarranted, and in our judgment, misguided.
This is really dangerous territory for Donald Trump, and I do think that he's broadly aware of it. Now, in polling right after Liberation Day, there was patience among the American public, and especially among the Trump base, but things are moving very, very quickly, and people's patience can wear thin. The early evidence has been many companies are not betting on the U.S. As stocks plummet, there are demonstrations in many cities across the US. They're about economic upheaval and many other issues.
I'm worried for my kids and grandkids. These costs are going to affect them for a long, long time.
I'm just listening to the experts and what all the experts saying, and who's not an expert is Trump.
They care nothing about people. They care about greed and they care about money.
No way. We're not going to give up without a fight.
The guy is completely out of control.
He's poisoned. He's a liar. He's a thief. He's a con man. He should be in prison.
Braddock, Pennsylvania, a former steel town, opinions are mixed.
But Trump is a genius, so we're just gonna have to figure it out. Sit back, cross our fingers, and hope everything that he said he's gonna do is gonna work.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir.
I don't understand how these tariffs are supposed to be good for us. You know what I mean? The bottom guy is the one that pays for it in the end.
How are you feeling about the tariffs?
I think they're wonderful.
We support them. We support Trump.
Some support too in Arizona.
I feel really confident that our president right now is going in the right direction, and I back him 100%.
If it hurts a little bit. But it's going to hurt a lot more later if we don't.
1 week after the president's so-called Liberation Day, he pauses many of the tariffs.
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid. I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate.
The biggest loser is the American people because they bought into the rhetoric, but also because for whatever reason, they believe Donald Trump would allow for more money in their pockets. And we've watched his tariff plan not only disrupt the American economy, but also our global partners as well.
If tariffs are so bad, if tariffs are supposed to be so inflationary, then why are all of our trading partners using them?
I think there's a lot of misrepresentation there and a lot of misunderstanding by the Trump team about the effect of tariffs. And we can look into history for that, but they can end up damaging enormously the country that is erecting them.
The US carries out attacks on Houthi rebels in Yemen. They've been using drones to bomb cargo vessels in the Red Sea. It emerges that a journalist has accidentally been added to a group of senior officials discussing military action on the messaging app Signal. Among the officials is the vice president. He believes European countries should be playing a bigger role. He says, if you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic.
That should not be a surprise to anybody because they use that language publicly all the time. And President Trump has referred to Europe as freeloaders.
I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
It's fine when you look at it in those terms only. Say, okay, they're freeloaders, they have to pay more. But then, when you start wanting Europe to then say, we're going to deploy forces to Ukraine, or we want Europe to join us in putting, in freezing out Chinese technology. Well, Europe might well say, don't want to do that.
Mr. Trump pledges a crackdown on illegal migrants. He sends military personnel to the US border with Mexico. Deportation raids are carried out by the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. Mr. Trump says he wants 1,200 to 1,500 arrests per day, but the numbers are lower. His new border czar is a straight talker.
Let me start out by saying this: if I offend anybody today, I don't give a
One deportation flight carries more than 260 migrants, alleged to be gang members. They arrive in El Salvador. There's a row over whether the flight was legal. But more flights are to follow.
If you break a crime, this is one of the consequences you can face. First of all, do not come to our country illegally. You will be removed and you will be prosecuted. But know that this facility is one of the tools in our toolkit that we will use if you commit crimes against the American people.
Mr. Trump invokes a law that was first made in the year 1798. It enables the arrest and deportation of non-citizens in a time of war.
Somebody
The families of some of those deported say they are entirely innocent of any crime, even that they've been picked up because of their tattoos.
They're just migrants, not criminals. They don't belong to any gang.
There's an admission that one person, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, has been deported to El Salvador by administrative error.
Kilmar, if you can hear me, stay strong. God hasn't forgotten about you.
What do we want? The Supreme Court says action should be taken to facilitate his return. But the White House digs in, insisting he will never live in the US again. The court orders the administration to pause the deportation of another group of alleged gang members.
Trump's immigration policy is racism writ large. And what we're seeing is him not use due process, not go through the court system, accusing people of criminal activity who have no criminal backgrounds. People are getting arrested in supermarkets who are just going to buy food for their families.
The public still broadly supports this idea of mass deportations, but what we do see when we break out polling on mass deportations is that people get uncomfortable with some of the ways that mass deportations can be pursued.
The number of illegal immigrants coming into the United States now has dropped off dramatically, talking 90+% decrease in what was happening compared to the previous 4 years. That is very popular.
In Gaza, the Hamas-run health ministry says more than 50,000 people have been killed during Israel's military campaign. The war has left much of Gaza in ruins. It was triggered by a Hamas attack on Israel in which about 1,200 people were killed and 251 taken hostage. Donald Trump makes a proposal.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. And I don't want to be cute, I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be so magnificent.
It's always hard to know what's rhetoric and what's substance from Donald Trump, and I think that's intentional by design. And in this case, my inclination is to say he's completely serious about redeveloping Gaza.
His proposal on taking over Gaza and turning it into a resort, I viewed as not that he was serious about it, but that he was upset that everyone keeps talking about a two-state solution or a one-state solution and nothing is going to happen, and nobody is coming up with any other ideas. So he's just saying, look, waterfront property in the Mediterranean should be beautiful, I'll take it. And he doesn't expect anyone to give it to the United States for us to do that, but he expects to get people talking about better solutions.
A video created using artificial intelligence and featuring the US president goes viral. Its creator says it was intended as political satire. Mr. Trump reposts it on social media.
I think it was a rather crazy, I don't know if I'd use that word, but surely it was a provocative and unorthodox proposition as usual. But look what happened. A few weeks later, you had massive commitments from the Gulf neighbors of Palestine and Gaza. And I think you'll see a rebuilding of Gaza.
Americans have given us a mandate for bold and profound change. Our country will be woke no longer.
Donald Trump won handedly. When we talk about the last election cycle, he won every single battleground state. It was uncontested. He also won the popular vote. He tapped into something in the American psyche, in the American consciousness.
Donald Trump moves quickly on issues that dominated his 2024 election campaign. The president bans transgender women and girls from competing in female categories of sports.
This is hugely popular. It was seen as having gone too far. where you had, for instance, women failing to win the medals because a biological male is swimming in the women's swimming races and beating all the women. So this was seen as grossly unfair.
To the parents who have trans youth, my heart goes out to them because this administration and the Trump campaign before the administration went out of its way to demonize these children.
President Trump is signing is the rescission of 78.
Mr. Trump ditches policies aimed at diversity, equity and inclusion, or DEI. He freezes federal grants worth billions of dollars at Harvard. The university takes legal action to stop the cuts. The administration says they're necessary to fight anti-Semitism at Harvard and curb DEI initiatives.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion matter. And they matter not just for Black people, they matter for all people. We're talking about allowing for women who have for far too long been left out of the highest rungs of our economy because they are women, not because of the fact that they don't have ability. Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs were designed to help to reduce some of the inequities that existed across our system.
What DEI was doing was changing the American culture of the land of opportunity and making it the land of racism by DEI. In other words, judging people by the color of their skin or their sexual preference.
When he says America first, he means diversity last.
Free J6! Free J6! The president pardons more than 1,500 people arrested or convicted after riots at the US Capitol on January the 6th, 2021. Mr. Trump declares English the official language of the US. Some people have more immediate priorities.
I think it's ridiculous. I don't think it's what we should be worrying about right now. We should be focused on the fact that we're spending $10 for a dozen eggs, and he said he was going to bring those prices down.
Gambling with world United Kingdom. One way or the other, we're going to get.
It's been 100 days of unprecedented change.
We have finally had a return to American cultural values and economic values that are important to the voters in the United States.
The US may be retreating from the influence it has had right around the world and opening a door to many countries to fill that vacuum, but above all, opening the door to China.
He feels that he probably has 18 months to 2 years to get everything done because you don't know what's going to happen in midterm elections.
I think the next 3 years will look a lot like the first 100 days of the Trump administration. I don't think the pace is going to slow significantly, and I don't think the radicalism of the Trump approach is going to be fettered by his opponents at all.